One of the first projects that I was involved in as a camera operator was supposed to be a simple sit-down interview. It was something that I was prepared to film. The space could be controlled, lights, sounds, angles. However, the interviewee had other ideas. She couldn't tell her story just sat on a couch. She had to show us. I was filming on a C100 at the time, so was able to use its onboard monitor mic to very quickly change from a tripod-based controlled interview to a run and gun behind the scenes handheld documentary style shoot. We went all over the island that we were on. I was squeezed into the back of a tiny car, capturing moments that would be impossible if we'd stuck with a studio setup. And I had this overwhelming feeling of, this is what I want to be doing. This is exciting. This is fun. Then the next shoot was back to B-roll and locations. Only now, I would look for opportunities to grab more documentary style footage.
So the way I see it, I've got two paths in front of me. Visual metaphor. Either I stay on the comfortable path where I'm making B-roll footage for other people's films, or I start exploring this new path where I start making documentaries for me. But I don't even know how to start making documentaries. Normally when I encounter a problem that I don't know how to solve, I look at it as a technical problem. Anything that I've tried to solve with the being a B-roll camera operator, I've bought my way out of. I've got a new piece of technology that fills that void that I need. I've managed to look up tutorials on YouTube on how to technically do things. But this isn't a technical problem. This is a lot more complicated than that. And I think that maybe documenting me becoming a documentary filmmaker, which is kind of meta, is that still cool, is a story that's maybe worth following. If you're in the same boat, maybe you can offer me advice, give me feedback on what I'm doing, or tell me about your own story. So if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe along. I do feel that in this day and age where we've got AI telling us, that's a brilliant idea, you should totally do that, it's very easy to overlook how difficult it actually is to start something new. So where do we start? What's the plan? I know my overall plan is to make a documentary, something I'd be proud of, but I can plan on how to technically make a documentary and tick things off a list, but I don't think that's really what I want to do. I want to learn how to be a documentary filmmaker, which is becoming a creative, and I don't really think of myself as a creative just now. So maybe that's what the plan is, to learn how to become a creative.
Luckily, we live in a time where you can learn how to do almost anything with a quick search on YouTube. There's a chance that you're watching this now because you Googled how to become a documentary filmmaker. But I feel that is a very technically focused solution. I can follow a checklist of instructions to technically film a documentary, but this isn't like fixing a washing machine. Doing something creative means that you're making something from scratch that has never existed before. Sure, other people have done it, but they've done it in their own way. Do you want to follow a checklist and do something exactly the same as someone else has when it comes to art? Probably not. So maybe in this case, YouTube isn't my only solution. I feel that for something like this, where you're trying to find your style or voice, that you need actual feedback from those who've already found theirs. And for me to get consistent, structured feedback, I'm going to need access to someone who can not only provide that, but is going to be able to do it on a regular basis. I don't think that one of those self-paced courses that people sell online is going to cut it either, because I am a terrible student. I need to be forced into a schedule. So I started looking at actual courses that I could do, and because I love a certificate, maybe I could do it at a recognised university. Now, doing a full-blown degree was maybe a bit overkill for me at this point, but a short course would hit the spot. I discovered that the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland does a 10-week online introduction to filmmaking course at a fairly reasonable price of £275, which is about £4,000 less than most other options. It covers the very basics for creating a short film, which isn't exactly what I want to be doing, But I think exposing myself to a more artistic style of filmmaking will help me find my style in the end. And I think that by starting with a foundational course that covers the basics, I'll be able to see where all the gaps in my knowledge and expertise are. So I've signed up and start in October. But what can I do until then? Do I just wait around until I'm given permission to start working on a project? Of course not, because I don't know if anyone has told you this before, but once you're an adult, there's this thing where you can do whatever the hell you like, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone or anything else. People just let you get on with it. For some reason, a lot of people act like they don't know about this. However, I do know some people who not only know that this is an option, they live their lives with that knowledge driving them. So, I'm going to ask them if they want to get involved.
Okay,